Could you describe your role on council and who else is part of it?
Well, my role is Vice Chair of Council. I've just been elected, and originally I was elected by the professional membership as a whole to Council itself, and in May I was elected as Vice Chair by the members of Council. And Council's quite an interesting body because it represents the membership. So people from branches are represented, the young professionals group are represented, we have international representation and specialist groups. So hopefully everyone in society has someone standing on council who is representing their interests for them. Obviously we also have members of trustee boards, some of the VPs and the chief executive. So it is the one place where everybody in BCS can come together and have a common sense of where we're going as a body.
What sort of topics are discussed at Council?
Council can cover a whole range of topics, so there's some very practical, procedural topics that we will cover, so governance regulations and things like that. But it's really an opportunity for us to think about the long-term strategy for BCS. So we have the opportunity on Council to think about where BCS might be 3 years, 5 years from now, and what sort of things are coming up from the membership as a whole that we might want to suggest to trustee board or some of the individual boards to think about for the future of society. So it's more than a talking shop, it's actually a way of actually reflecting the discussions that are going on around the country, internationally, bring them all together in one place so we can see where we'd like to take the organisation and make recommendations. And that is the primary purpose of Council, it's to advise the other parts of BCS. It isn't the final decision-making body, but it should certainly see representation of the interests of the members.
Do discussions really have any influence?
They do. The advice that comes from Council should be representing the whole membership. If we were really unhappy with a direction of travel, so maybe the long-term strategy the trustee board has come up with, the budget, we may have a view and say, actually, we don't think the money's going to be spent in the right direction. Could you reconsider? So that's our primary job, is to say, on behalf of the whole membership, we'd like you to reconsider particular areas. So we do have quite a bit of influence. And also we can raise new topics. We liken it quite a lot to the House of Parliament. It's like the House of Commons, new things can come up that may not have been on the government's agenda. That's our role in Council, is to raise some of those topics. And it may not happen immediately, but over the next year or two, you see that it's really had quite an impact and an influence on the direction of the society.
If there was one thing you would like to say to the membership, what would it be?
Well, the thing that I would most like to say to the membership is please stand for Council. It is the only body in the whole of BCS where anybody can stand. So if you've just joined as a member, you are perfectly entitled to stand as a council representative. So get to know what Council is about. Come and meet some of us. There's lots of us around the country. Have a look on the BCS member site to see who we are. But get involved in Council, because this is where your voice can be heard. And it is the only place where we can guarantee that your voice will be heard. And that's a really important part of the BCS governance process. So really big call is please consider standing for Council. It's not a scary place. It's a really exciting, interesting place to be. And as I've been saying, you can have some influence on the direction of BCS and where it's going in the future.
Can you tell us when and where the Council meet?
So Council meets 4 times a year in London. We do meet in Southampton Street, but we also have international participation, so people can use the video conferencing facilities that we've got here. So we have people participating who are joining us from around the world. We've got people currently on Council in Sri Lanka joining us. So you can be anywhere. We do have the facilities to join the Council meeting, so you don't have to come to London, but the majority of the current councillors do. But it's 4 meetings a year, so they generally last majority of a day, but 4 days a year is a contribution that quite a few people are willing to make to improve the overall structure and direction of the society.